So yeah, so we have some bad news for Arc Raiders, and it comes from an article on Insider Gaming, and it says this: Arc Raiders won't have a beta and isn't appearing during Gamescom. So Embark Studios is preparing for the release of Arc Raiders, a highly anticipated extraction shooter that underwent an extremely successful testing window earlier this year. Despite the success and the demand from fans worldwide, Embark have stressed that Arc Raiders will not have any more tests before launching on October 30th. So October 30th, let's think about this. Does this work? So that is 20 days 20 days after the launch of Battlefield. That's enough time for a little bit of breathing room. It is 14 days before the launch of Black Ops 7. Those will be the two games that have the most competition for Arc Raiders. So, since the tech test for Arc Raiders, which yes, was incredibly successful, there has been nothing on this title. And for those of you in chat who are like, what is Arc Raiders? It's an third-person extraction shooter in this really cool world that plays incredibly well. Now, what does the rest of this article actually say? It was also mentioned in a post on social media that the title won't appear at Gamescom in any capacity, subverting the expectation of the growing fan base. So this is kind of what we've seen time and time again now from Arc Raiders. There was this booming thing, and then there was rumors that it was going to get shadow dropped, the full game, at what was that, at Summer Games Fest. I think it was Summer Games Fest that people thought they were going to just shadow drop the game then, because they put like this countdown, this ARG style thing, and then they apologized for it, and they said that announcement at Summer Games Fest was just the final release date of October 30th. And since then, since Summer Game Fest in June, there has been nothing out on this game aside from the statement that there is going to be nothing at Gamescom and there's going to be no beta. So, polishing and expanding. There are very high hopes for Arc Raiders, which tested well earlier this year and earned extensive and positive feedback from gamers everywhere. Unfortunately, that's all there will be until October 30th, when the game's release is full. When the game releases in full. The team here in Stockholm, by the way, Embark Studio is the team behind the finals. They're the team behind this game, and they've done a pretty good job with the finals, and people have been very impressed with this. They're former EA employees, specifically a lot of them worked at Battlefield. That's why they have the destruction technology in the finals that they do have. Getting ready for the release on October 30th. Of course, Jesus, I can't read. Our focus is now on polishing and expanding the experience and putting all the learnings from TT2 into action ahead of the release. Tech Test 2 is what that stands for, by the way. Just so you know, we are not planning an additional public test before launch, which means no beta. We've learned from our last announcement that it is crucial to keep expectations in check. So we also want to be clear that we won't be at Gamescom. So people were expecting them to be at Gamescom. I was expecting them to be at Gamescom and then to do a shadow drop of a beta. After their Summer Games Fest, everyone thinking they were dropping the game and not. That's why they're being like that. But don't worry, our launch campaign will kick off before you know it. So in other words, there will be some sort of press, media, marketing for the game at some point. We'll have many more updates for you in the lead up to launch. Thank you for all the support and encouragement you've been sending our way. It means the world. Fans were quick to point out the success of the first test and ongoing popularity of the Battlefield 6 beta, highlighting how running such a test can drum up immense support in developing a game. So yes, that is absolutely correct. The only problem is what is also, why the heck do you put an ad in the middle of the article so I can't read it? Anyway, it was only at the start of June that the release date of Arc Raiders was unveiled. There is still quite a while to go, and between then and now, a few key contenders are set to drop, such as Battlefield 6, which is poised to fully disrupt the shooter market this year. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 also recently received a new teaser, which we looked at earlier in the stream. Some core themes of the game that will be revealed in full next week during Gamescom opening night live. So yeah, that's kind of what we talked about at the beginning there. So October 10th, we have Battlefield 6. November 14th, has that been confirmed? Has that been confirmed? I don't know if that's been confirmed or not, but November 14th, we have Black Ops 7. And then October 30th, we have Arc Raiders. Now, the worry here is, and this would be my biggest question, is Arc Raiders boomed because of its tech test. Because the game looks pretty and it can come across well in a trailer, but where that game actually thrives is with good gameplay, good moments, good tense gaming moments, which only comes across when you play it. Now, I truly believe that Embark has shown that in a live service model with the finals, they can support their games. They can build a community. They've done that. They proved themselves that way. But their marketing, they did it. They did the thing. And I'm worried that they are going the way of XDefiant. If you don't remember, what happened with XDefiant is they released a beta to booming success. Everyone liked it. And then they're like, okay, we're taking down the beta. We'll launch the game soon. And then it gets delayed, and then it gets delayed again. And the game comes out fully launched a year later, 1 year later. When it comes out a year later, other games have come out. Other things have happened. People forgot about the beta. And on top of that, it isn't as good as its now competitors. And if you look at Arc Raiders, it's actually something very, very similar. It comes out at a perfect time, right when Marathon releases their beta. Marathon sucks. Arc Raiders is great. So on top of that, on top of just being a good game, it looks like the golden goose next to Marathon. But since then, they made a couple marketing blunders, making us think that they're going to launch or shadow drop the game and then don't. So that ruins hype. And then you have Battlefield 6, which has now taken the gaming community by storm. And then you're going to have Black Ops 7, which will always do well. They need to be very careful because let's say, for example, it gets delayed. Well, then all of the steam is gone. But it's also launching between two behemoths. And yes, Battlefield 6 we know is going to be a behemoth, and Call of Duty, so it's going to be a behemoth. It's going to sell tens of millions of copies. And then if they can't build a community by the time GTA launches, they're dead in the water. Now, there is one good thing about Arc Raiders. None of what we just talked about are extraction shooters. And extraction shooter players want extraction shooters. But one thing I haven't said is there's another extraction shooter getting fully launched this year. Apparently, Escape from Tarkov is supposed to be getting their full launch this year. Now, when that happens, I don't know. Is there a date? Does anybody know? Sometime in 2025. Okay, so we don't have a date. And then the next year, there's going to be DMZ2. So there's going to be competitors. There just isn't right now. And I think that's why it would have been such a crucial... If Arc Raiders would have launched in June with Summer Games Fest, it would be way bigger than I think if it launched when it's launching. And that's just bad timing for them. So yeah, I don't know. I hope it's great. It's been my favorite extraction shooter that I have personally played.